Hello. So today I thought of sharing about why can't you really recognize a Buddha? First of all, let's look at who are Buddha. Like, who is a Buddha? Am I talking about Gautama Buddha, who was there in 2,500 years back? No, I'm talking about the word Buddha. The meaning of the word is like anyone who has awakened from this illusion of life, from this sleep. They are called an awakened one, who's a Buddha, And then the next question, why can't you recognize a Buddha? Why do you think that you can't recognize a Buddha? The reason why can't you recognize Buddha is because you already have a frame. This is how Buddha would look like, So if someone is coming from now, for example, for me, in the past I also had a frame. I thought, okay, a Buddha must be someone who wears the yellow robe and who has a very pleasant features. Because that is what I saw in the statues in the temple. So I thought this is how Buddha would look like. But that's not the case. And so what I would say is, if you want to really recognize a Buddha in your life right now, like in this, let me tell you that Buddhas really live right this moment. But the problem is, can you really recognize? Yeah. So for you to recognize this a Buddha awakened one, you need to completely remove this framework and be very open-minded. And don't have any framework. For example, I had a frame that a Buddha must be look like wearing a yellow robe. Is that true? No. That's not true. And I have seen people who are wearing t-shirts and wearing robes, and so they could be wearing anything. You never know. So you need to see that do not have any frame as such. What they are wearing is nothing to do with this truth. Please see that, because this is the biggest hindrance for you. Like, if you have a framework, then how would you recognize a Buddha? And if you cannot recognize a Buddha, how would you follow the real teaching? Because rather than you following someone who was there 2,500 years ago, you could, if you can recognize someone who's already right now living, you could get the true teaching, the original teaching. Because now if you take Gautama Buddha's teaching, it's been somewhat distorted because it is coming from 2,500 years from, So for you, if you can recognize a true Buddha, it would be extremely helpful if you want to realize this truth, which I cannot emphasize. It's so important, And so what I would suggest is just completely remove this framework that you have. Let me tell you my framework first in the beginning that I had. Buddha must be wearing the yellow robe, and then the Buddha must be going very slow, and he's walking from village to village. And because I was coming from this Buddhist culture, and this is my framework looked like, whatever the statues were in the temple. And what else? And he's very compassionate, and he doesn't like what else. And then like when I start seeing like, and he doesn't have a partner and things like that, and he walks very slow. And then I had to, like when I really start seeing really realized beings in my life, I had to really let go of these frameworks. Because if you take like Adya Shanti, he who lives in USA, even still he's there, and he's wearing t-shirts. He has a very, very normal life. And in fact, he has a wife. In East, no one would believe that, wow, like someone who's realized having a wife. But let me tell you that he's a realized being. So for you to really recognize, you would need to really let go of this framework. Whatever the frames you have that should be looked like this, that and everything, you need to remove that. For example, like in my life, I told you that like Buddha is like walking from village to village, but nowadays that's not the case. If you take my teacher, he came in an Audi, a very luxury car. So I never judged him for it. And I could even see his teachings are pure teachings. Because nowadays, it's very modern. So you will not meet Buddhas as such right now. It would be very different. Just like I said, Adya Shanti is wearing t-shirts. Just like living a very normal lifestyle. So the reason why you are getting blocked to recognize these realized beings, because you have a framework already. And once you remove this framework, you will start being open. Just be open. I was not worried about the appearance or what they wear, what's their lifestyle and what they're doing. I wasn't worried about anything when I meet my teacher, and I really recognized this is a Buddha. And I even wrote that in my email and sent that to him. Because I was very sure. Because I had the senses. You need to have some sense when you're walking, because you need to feel the energy. Become more and more sensitive to the energies. And there are so many things that you cannot see. There are so many things that science cannot explain.